Stenross on the mic, talking life and what's it like. Middle age, it's quite the ride, finding joy and chasing pride. Career dreams and daily grind, funny moments that we find. Letting go of yesterday, making paths along the way. Middle age.
Hey, Tim.
Hey, Trav.
How you doing, man?
Good.
You
Late
excited?
night here.
Yeah, late night. Are you excited?
I'm always excited.
You know what? Your continual enthusiasm is what gets me through the day. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I know you've been looking forward to this as much as I have, so great to
know.
connect.
Yeah, we're running down the tail end of our season 2 here, folks. And for those who need a reminder, who have been here before, and for an intro for first-time listeners, hi. The Tim and Trav podcast is basically about life in our 40s and transitions and everything in between. This season, season 2, we're focusing on unique passions. And we have yet another amazing guest. All of our guests have been awesome, especially this season with the passions. I honestly did not know. I don't know how you feel about it, Tim, but coming into this, wasn't really sure this season. Like, are we actually going to find, enough people that have interesting or different passions that are actually, more than just like a hobby? You know what I mean? Like everybody has a hobby or two, but like these people have blown it out of the water, in my opinion. And today's episode is no exception.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I keep learning new things from these folks and kind of just new worlds as well that I just didn't know existed. And I have such admiration for the tenacity, the bravery, the steps that these people take to go into that, and and they take a lot out of it. So it's really cool to hear their stories.
Totally, it's funny too, because I was actually thinking that as we were progressing through the season, I was like, am I going to start feeling really lazy because I don't do any of this stuff that they do? But what's cool is all these people derive so much energy from it. They kind of give you the energy. You know what I mean? And like Jessy Stenross today is like 100% there. Like I left that conversation so energized because she was just really about it. It was cool.
Yeah. I didn't tell you this until now, but I've actually elected to take up each one of the passions of the guests that we've interviewed. So I'm currently building a car in my garage and training for a half marathon.
And you're going to launch it into space?
Exactly.
All right, man. You want to get into the couples card game?
Yeah, let's do it real quick. So the couples card game today is your favorite way to eat a potato. Let's make this quick.
Wait, eat or cook?
Oh, cook, excuse me.
Okay.
And then you eat it. So this is a fun one. Those couples who are looking for, a way to kind of, really invigorate your relationship. Here's a great question. Your favorite way to
tell me, babe,
cook a
what's
potato?
Your favorite way to cook a potato? This is by far the worst first date question we've had.
I don't know why. Who chose this?
So my first one, I'll go first. My favorite way to cook a potato is to smoke it. I've talked about this on a big green egg. Basically what you do is you toss it in olive oil, salt, and pepper, and you put it on the smoker, directly on the smoker, and it goes for an hour at 250. And I am telling you, it is like the best baked potato you've ever had in your life. And then the cool part is, like, I actually just did this morning. You make extra when you do that, and then the next morning after they've been in the fridge all night, you cut them up and then you put them in a cast iron, and it is like the best breakfast potatoes you've ever had. So there you go. I got
that sounds like
out of it.
A tremendous amount of work to eat a potato.
I love potatoes. I could go on about this. I could actually rank things in potato.
We're spending. Frankly, I don't even know if I should share how I cook a potato because it's so boring. And
if yours are frozen, you're fired.
Trav, I peel it, I chop it up, I put a little oil on it, I drizzle some seasoning on it, and I air fry them. And the kids like it.
Oh, you're an air fryer guy. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'll bake too, but I'll either air fry or bake. So. Nice. That's all, Trev.
Can I?
No,
can
I'm
I
not
ask
answering
a
any
follow-up
questions
question?
about a potato.
Oh, come on. What else? No, not about a potato. About the air fryer.
Okay.
How often do you use your air fryer?
We use it a good amount. I mean, we like it. It's a great, it's a great kitchen appliance. So, we do a lot of. We do some veggies in there, chicken nuggets, quick stuff for the kids.
Yeah. Would you recommend? Would you feel a loss without it?
I'd probably find my way if I didn't have my air fryer, but.
I didn't mean in life. I meant in terms of cooking.
We can't do
the
late night
punchy
episodes,
stage.
man. Yeah.
All
right.
Okay, so listener comments and questions. You want me to get going, or you want to do one?
Yeah, I'm afraid this is just going to keep getting better. Go ahead.
First one up is from one of our OG listeners, Jim, who's a family friend of ours. Jim, hello. Thank you very much for writing in. He wrote in response to the Heather episode. He wrote us a very nice note and complimented us. And one of the things that he said was really kind of a cool memory that he had. And he said, when I was very young, I was sent to a boarding school. After the first day of classroom time, all the students went to the gym to change from our uniforms into our quote-unquote play clothes. And the entire locker room smelled of the scent of new blue jeans, mostly Levi's back then. To this day, every time I smell the scent of new denim, I'm immediately transported back to being 7 years old and changing clothes in that locker room for the very first time. Travis, the science guy, is right. I've never been called the science guy. Thank you, Jim. Is right. Our sense of smell is perhaps the strongest one linked to our memory. Jim, that was great. Thank you. What a cool memory. I didn't really think about the smell of denim. That's so true.
That's cool. Yeah. Thank you, Jim.
And then another one, if I can go back to back here, sure. I got to tell you, we've had some really great listener comments, but this one hit pretty hard. I actually really, really I laughed out loud at this one.
Yeah, why don't you share it?
This one's from Chris, and for those who don't know, Chris is the brother of Tim. Older, wiser.
He is older, wiser. And thank you, Chris, in advance for writing in. That was very sweet of you.
Well, hold that thought. He said, I really loved this episode. It was great to learn the following. Number 1, Tim hadn't considered visiting to see his nieces in a play, but Christy encouraged the whole idea. He nailed you on that one. And number 2, when Tim was in Michigan, my vacuum cleaner made a more significant impression on him than any of our time together. Keep it up, Chris.
I'm going to have a tough time arguing both of those points.
I mean, he got you. And if I may, I'm going to read my response to Chris.
Yeah, Trav, go ahead. Yep, I'd love to hear it.
I said, I'm so glad you enjoyed the episode. You and I had similar takeaways. I'd like to add 2 things, if I may. A, not only did he talk about using your vacuum cleaner, but he also insulted its waste bucket, and I'd call that bordering out on out of line. Mm-hmm. And B, he gave Christy more credit for coming up with the idea than he did for you hosting him. Not to pile on, of course, but I felt the need to point that out now that now that I know you've heard the episode. We appreciate you, our valued listener, Trav.
Maybe this should be the Chris and Trav podcast.
He's too smart for that.
He's too smart. Chris makes some very valid points. Thank you, Chris, for writing in. Chris did do a lot while we were there. I'm not going to deny that. For some reason, they didn't stand out. When I looked back on the experience, the vacuum cleaner came to mind. So anyways, Chris does listen, and I think he does enjoy the show. I don't want to speak for him, but I think he enjoys the show, and he's got a beautiful family, and I'm very proud of my nieces.
For those who are a little bit lost at the moment, he's referencing episode 209, where Tim thanked Christy for coming up with the idea to go see his nieces in a play in Michigan. I have to say,
funny.
Yeah, I have to say we have a lot of great memories with Chris, and one of the things that I'm sad we don't get to see him more often, or really at all as an adult. But man, I miss that guy's sense of humor. He's funny. He's funny. He's a funny dude.
And you shared that email just for all full transparency. You shared that email with me in advance, and I was crying as well when I saw that. I thought it was very funny. It was very well done. So, on both your parts, your response was very good as well.
I got a pile on.
No, that was great. I got a quick comment from buddy and listener Tim, who wrote in after listening to Alex's episode. I don't remember which number that was, but for those of you who remember, he was the marathon runner, the ultra maniac marathon runner. And he said, oh my gosh, where did that go? Tim said, just finished the episode with Alex. I really enjoyed it. You guys did a great job, and Alex is an inspiring guy. It made me sign up for the New York Times crossword. Thankfully, I was able to knock out the Monday crossword puzzle from this week. So Tim is, bragging a little bit there, but we'll take it. Thank you, Tim, and congratulations on completing Monday. Just kidding. No, it's cool. I think it's neat when the show is being used, to inspire others. So very cool. And as those of you who may remember, Alex does the crossword every day. So got Tim going.
There you go. Colin says hi, Tim, by the way.
Yeah, and I think that Colin friended me or LinkedIn me, which was a big step for us. Yeah. So
all right.
Yeah, we're working on that relationship.
For those of you who would like to comment or ask a question or just generally ridicule, timandtravpodcast@gmail.com is our email address. That's the best way to get a hold of us, timandtravpodcast@gmail.com. We do read all of them, and if you write in, we will read them, at least part of them, on the air. Let's segue into awesome wife moment. What you got?
Cool. Yeah, so I think I am constantly kind of amazed, perplexed, wowed by the amount of things that go on in the background that Christy is taking care of. And I'm just sort of, trying to do my best. So as an example, right? Like this morning or this weekend, she was just sort of casually mentioning, oh, I got to get the taxes done, right? So she's been like, sitting with all this, something that everybody has to take on at some point. And, I have not, outside of like forwarding her emails that have come in or handing her some of my mail that's come in that is relevant to that, I haven't done any of that. She does it every year. She doesn't complain. And it's an incredibly important step that, keeps us moving in the right direction. And that's just one small example of the million other things that she has on her plate, all the stuff with the kids. I'm just, I'm constantly impressed and amazed by everything that she takes on. It's just inspiring. I mean, it's like I almost feel like I need to step up my game a little bit just to help out a little bit because she's just a rock star. I mean, that's just the bottom line. So I'm really lucky dude.
The quiet hero of Christy Cummings. I love it. Mm-hmm. That's great.
Yeah, that's a great way of putting it.
It's good to not lose sight of that. And on that same thing, I'm going to kind of dovetail into that with Kristen, if I may. I was having a conversation with somebody and we were trying to figure out some logistics of things. And I said, well, let me check with my wife. She doesn't know Kristen in any way, and she was like, "Yeah, absolutely, not a problem." And I said, I made some silly apology, like, "Sorry to slow things up and not have an answer. I just need to run it by her first, so that we can kind of coordinate."
Sure.
She's like, "No, I get it. She's your teammate. She's your partner. I get it." And it was one of those really good reminders in a generally casual conversation of like, yeah, you know what? That's exactly what it is. It's always how we've treated it, but she's the teammate, she's the partner, and I wouldn't want to do it with anybody else. I couldn't even fathom it, but it's the idea that it's one of those like, yeah, no, this is my person. I know that's a really general thing, but it is those quiet things that keep the ball moving down the field, and it wouldn't happen without her. So I'm very thankful. Yeah. We're lucky. I know we say that a lot, but we're lucky.
You're right about that.
Speaking of awesome things, anything awesome you've read, seen, experienced recently?
Can I go first?
Yeah, please.
Okay, great. So my sister-in-law was over the weekend. She recently became a Costco member.
Wow. Did you take her and show her the veteran ways of Costco?
That is to come. That we're not there yet. She needs to, it's baby steps like anything into this new world. But I have to say, the way that she talked about it was hysterical. And she said, so she has 3 daughters, and she said she went there with one of them, her middle child, whose name is Penny. Her name is Sharon. Sharon's my sister-in-law. And Sharon said, Penny and I felt like Elphaba and Glenda walking into the Emerald City.
If they don't use that in their ads, they're losing it. Oh, that's amazing.
That was so funny. So they had a great experience. It was just so funny to like, obviously I'm such a dweeb with this stuff and so obsessed with this place, but it was so funny to hear of like a newcomer's experience at Costco, and she had a very pleasant time. So I'm just, endorsing them one more time.
There you go. That's that free endorsement. I have a question about Costco, if I may.
Yeah.
Do you wear the Kirkland clothes? I say that without judgment.
No, and Christy got me a sweatshirt for Christmas, maybe last Christmas or 2 Christmases ago. It was just real big. Like it was even like a medium was just a really, really big sweatshirt. So I didn't. I elected to return it, which was probably a mistake. But I don't know. I mean, So I do not own any Kirkland gear.
I saw a lady walking her dog the other day with a Kirkland's hoodie on, and I was like, "Oh man, Tim needs that in his life."
Yeah, those are pretty cool. Yeah, those are cool.
Yeah.
I'm not, I'm not that big of a fan, and I already have a sweatshirt, so I don't need another one.
Lies.
So, what do you got, man? What's your awesome moment?
My awesome moment is a community-based thing here in town, and the high school here. I think I may have mentioned this once or twice. The high school here is putting on a musical rendition of The Music Man, and it is going to start this coming week. If you all are in the area of Cleveland, please come to Bay Village and watch. These kids have put on, and the staff have put in so much hard work to do this. And if anybody, has been involved in theater or anything like this, any type of production before, you know that it takes an absolute army and patience and time and effort and passion. And it's just, today was the awesome thing. My son is in it. He's a fifth grader. He plays Winthrop, who's one of the main kids in it. And man, it is just so cool to watch a bunch of young kids just really go after something. Like today was kind of not a full dress rehearsal kind of thing, but it was like tech week start, which is always a big deal. And man, cast, crew, everybody was just buzzing and going after it. And it's a lot. It requires a ton, and it is so cool. And man, I cannot wait to see this all the way through. They are killing it, absolutely killing it. The talent on stage is amazing. The sets look awesome. The directors, the choreography. I mean, some of this choreography, oh my gosh. I was like, how do you even get that many high schoolers corralled on a stage, much less getting them to do all this stuff in time? It was unreal. So I'm really looking forward to it. And that was the awesome thing today, was just witnessing all of this really starting to funnel and come together, and it was really cool. So
that's so cool, man. And I know we have a sponsor ad coming up momentarily, but that's a great segue into our guest today too. It's just the power of art, right? And community art. That is just so cool. And thank you for mentioning the many different groups that are involved in that production, not just the people on stage, because that's so true. I mean, everybody is putting in 100% plus effort to make this such a magical experience for the community. That's really awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
Good stuff, man.
Yeah. So like you mentioned, we have a sponsor, and we have a sponsor we really like. So let's hear it. Just off the southern coast of Africa is a tropical hotspot with some of the world's greatest biodiversity, Madagascar. Within this magnificently lush landscape, a coffee company was born. Meet Madagascar Coffee Company. With a vision to redefine your coffee experience, these guys are all about next level quality in your cup, better prices for farmers, and a sustainable supply chain that actually makes sense. If you love coffee or just need a better cup to get you through the day, check them out at MadagascarCoffeeCompany.com. They've committed to announcing their upcoming sales launch right here on the Tim and Trav podcast. Madagascar Coffee Company. Coffee that does good and tastes even better. Tim, you want to intro Jessy?
Yeah, Jessy. Jessy's phenomenal. Just an incredibly talented person on so many different levels, and a busy mom, a busy vet. She's got 3 young boys, so she is just making an impact. And I'm really excited to connect with you and her and hear a little bit more about what she's doing in her community.
Right on. Here we go.
All right, Trav, here we are, the one and only Jessy Stenross, potentially wrapping up season 2, which is pretty wild. Jessy, no pressure.
Wow, I'm scared now.
No, you're our closer.
You're the closer. No, it is so awesome to have you. And you're coming in from Florida, which is so cool, but you don't live in Florida. You live someplace else. You were just in Costa Rica. You got 3 kids. There's a whole heck of a lot going on. And we are delighted to have you. So thank you so much for joining us. Tell us all the details, right? So maybe you could start, as we do with all of our guests, by just sharing a little bit more about your day-to-day, what you do in terms of work and family and all that other good stuff, just so we can get a framework for the busyness that surrounds you.
Yeah, so thank you, first of all, for having me here, and for just, this is super fun to be able to share share this with you all. I am a small animal veterinarian in Minneapolis, and I have three boys who are 5, 8, and 10. And I work full time as a vet, which is a lot. It's a crazy, hectic profession, and also it's a lot having three little guys to care for. So really, the day to day is just a balance of making sure I stay sane as a veterinarian because it's a lot, but also, yeah, just managing them and just life is hectic and busy. And so I also have a husband who's a kindergarten teacher, and which is a fun balance of a fun sort of. We have a kindergartner at our house, so he's like an expert in taking care of him, thankfully. But that's mostly just I'm a doctor, but as a small animal vet, I do surgery and just regular wellness care and take care of sick animals, a lot of dentistry. Do that full time.
So you're very busy, in other
Yeah,
words.
yeah.
3 kids, 3 boys under 10.
Hmm.
Oof, man.
And they have a lot going on with their lives and activities, sports and piano and artsy things. So yeah, that's another full time job, obviously, managing all the activities.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure,
Yeah.
Wow, super
Very
impressive. All right. So Jesse's got a full plate, I think, suffice it to say. Fair. But, Jesse, you still find time to satisfy a certain passion of yours, right? Which is what we'd like to hear about today. So maybe you could share a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so my passion is being a part of a community choir that I've been a part of for 7 years, and it kind of stemmed from being music has always been a part of my life, and I was in choirs in high school and choir in college, and I was at a concert about 7 years ago, and like a little coffee house, and the person performing was like, I just joined a community choir. And I was like, you could do that? People could do that as adults? Like, I didn't, it just, it was something I missed. It was always a place of joy and enrichment in my life. And I just missed it so badly. But I realized, like, I can't commit to something like that. It was too much. I had a toddler and a 5-year-old, and I was pregnant with my baby. And I was like, nope, that's not a thing. But she was like, yep, I joined this. And I was like, I need to be a part of this. So I have for the last 7 years. It's been really rewarding, and it's not just a community choir. It's kind of unique in the sense that we do a whole variety of music, ranging from Brandy Carlisle. We have Chapel Roan, Seal, Whitney Houston, Tina Turner, a whole bunch of really fun music. And the kind of thought behind this choir was that let's get together 75 people that are all different backgrounds and cultures, gender, ethnicity, identities, ages, and let's all come together. And our director, Rachel Reese, who's incredible, her kind of primary focus was in a world that's so divisive right now and so isolating, let's do something that's uniting. And our voices are what unites us. And it doesn't matter who you are. You don't even need to audition for this choir, which is awesome. You do kind of need to know how to sing, because otherwise it'd be kind of a hot mess. But there's really, you can just be in it. You can sign up and say, hey, I want to do this. And I was really lucky to be able to get into this organization 7 years ago. There's a really long wait list now, and I just I'm like, oh, I can't believe I get to do this every week. So the thought would be that it's kind of an active rebellion and reimagining to all sing together, and it's become more than just a place to go and sing every week. It's truly a community that cares about each other, and it's a place where I just instantly feel joy every time I step into a rehearsal space.
That's so cool. How often do you practice?
We practice every Monday, so from Monday from 7 to 9. So it's one time a week, but then of course there's a decent amount that should happen on your own outside of choir too, so that just like we have all the music and all the recordings and all the all the arrangements, so we can do our own rehearsing. But we get together in person once a week, and then leading up to the shows, there's some other rehearsals, some longer kind of weekend rehearsals that we have to do to get ready. Yeah.
And what's the name of the choir again?
It's called Kith Kin Chorus. So friends and family, kith and kin.
Sorry, so when you were doing the intro in the beginning, those watching on YouTube will have seen this, but Trav, not everybody has seen this. I had to take off my sweatshirt. I was getting so hot, so I had to do a costume change, and I don't know if you shared where you live. Did you share that during the intro?
I might have, but yeah, Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Okay, so you're in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I could say right now, I don't know if an adult choir. I don't know where the closest adult choir is to me. I'm in East Brunswick, New Jersey. How rare is this adult choir? I mean, are there other adult choirs near you? How does this come to be?
Yeah, I mean, I think there are, but nothing like this with the focus of one of the really, really special things about this choir is that we the reason we're doing this is to raise money for people that need it. And so it's not just a place to sing and have community and feel this sort of sense of joy and excitement and harmony, but it's also the main thing that we kind of focus on is that we choose a charity or a nonprofit each season to give money to, and all the ticket proceeds from our shows go to that organization, and we all vote on it. There's usually like 10 that are nominated, and we all vote as a choir of. It's hard to choose because they're always like we always want to give it like choose everybody, but we have to choose one because really the goal is that we want that organization to really have that money make an impact. So it wouldn't be like, oh yeah, let's give it to some large corporation that needs. No, we're going to give it to something super hyper local that the money is going to make a massive difference, and it's very exciting to do that. And so it's all the money from the ticket sales, and then also there's a silent auction at our shows. And when I say our shows, we have one major show at the end of the year. So we start rehearsing our new music in the fall, and then in the May is when we have a big show. And the show is where we have the charity, the organization come, and they also say like, thank you for being here, and they tell us about what they're doing, and we all the money goes to them. And usually we sell out both of our shows, and we perform in big concert venues in Minneapolis. And I think I want to say like 400 tickets per show, so like 800 tickets. So, and it's really fun that we sell out. It's kind of like we're just a choir, but so like we have a little following, and people like us, and we're fun, and it's the music. It's an experience that is, yeah, it kind of benefits everybody, the people in the audience and the people we're giving them money to, and then the people that are doing the singing. It's everybody.
It's inclusive all around. It's not just on stage. It's everybody. That's really cool.
Yeah. And we also collaborate with a local artist, and typically the artist is someone who's like pretty fantastic, and sometimes it's bigger names like that. And there's just a whole variety we've done over the years, but we will sing back up for a few of their songs, and then they'll have a little set, and then we'll have our own little set. So it's cool. The performances are really fun because we might draw people in because we're performing with this person, so they might really be there sometimes like, oh, I love that artist, and also this choir singing with them. That's kind of cool. Mm-hmm. So that's another kind of fun added element to it.
Very cool.
It's so neat. Yeah. You said 75 members. It can't get any bigger than that. Is that so? That's the cap?
Yeah, we would just fall off the stage if there was more of us. You're crammed up there, like snuggled up there. Like someone might fall at some point. I don't know what could happen because we get sometimes the songs are very exuberant. We're doing Pink Pony Club and we did I Want to Dance with Somebody by Whitney Houston last season, and it's hard to not move a little bit when you're singing the song. So it'd be really special to have more people up there. It's just physically like we can't where the places we've been able to perform at. However, my director does have, because it seems like there's a need for this, like people, because there's 100 or more people on a wait list to get into this choir. And again, it's just it's not audition based. You just sign up, and there's a lottery now to get in. Wow. When I got in 7 years ago, it was half the size, and there was no lottery. Luckily, it was just sort of like, okay, we're growing, and here we are. But now it's really like doubled in size, and it's we kind of gotten pretty big. But she also offers pop-up choirs called Crash Course, which is basically like a 6 weeks of let's meet on a Sunday, and those usually are like 150 people do those each session, which is, and then they do a performance as well. So people that maybe want to be in the main choir but haven't had a chance to um, might actually do that. And then she also does like 4 times a year community sing where you just kind of get together and sing 3 songs in one night.
Wow.
It turns out people need to sing together. It turns
Yeah.
out it's just, yeah, there's something about it.
That's a lot of people. Is there a dedicated space just for this group, or is it like you all rent out space because you have to find a huge space?
We're lucky to rent out a space in like a community area in a church. We're not
Cool.
affiliated with a church or anything like that, but it's they are super generous to us, and so we use their space every Monday.
Oh, okay, cool. I mean, 75 people, I can't even really wrap my head around the other, like the 100 plus people. That's crazy. But like organizing 75 voices, right? And they don't have to necessarily audition. So you've got probably, I would wager, you can correct me if I'm wrong, that there's probably some variance of talent in there. You know, not everybody's a Jessy, you know? So like, how does that all work when, I mean, I'm just trying to like walk through a practice, you know, like that seems like a lot, like a huge undertaking.
It's a huge undertaking, and yeah, it's chaos a lot of
I
times.
bet.
She have to stand at a microphone and kind of reel us in because it's a lot. People are just buzzy and excited, and
Mm,
there's a lot of people, a lot of chit chat.
sure.
And then there's, yeah, like you said, a lot of abilities. And so that's where the practice comes in. And it's always amazing where we start out, we're given this song that's like 7 to 11 part harmony. And it just feels really, really like, no, there's no way we can do this. And then by the end of the season, it just sounds gorgeous. And each week you see the progress. And that's really fun too.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So you, just to kind of back up just a little bit, like early Jessy as a singer, you knew you wanted to do, you knew you enjoyed singing, I should say, at a very young age. What started that? Was it like, you're younger than us, but was it like you heard Whitney Houston and you just wanted to be Whitney Houston, or was it like, you know, you were in a church choir, or how did that all start?
No, so my older sister is like 7.5 years older than me, and she was in high school choir. And I remember being in elementary school and going and watching her up on stage and just feeling like, wow, that looks really fun. I know it was really a great experience for her. So when I got into high school, I joined choir. That was one of my first time, just high school choir. And then all my friends were also in it. So it became this sort of fun space of social time, and then we were in all the musicals together and in high school. And that was actually something that I was, when I was kind of on this journey of figuring out, all right, I'm an adult, I have kids, I feel like I'm busy, but I really miss this part of me that was I no longer tap into at all. I was wondering, well, maybe I should find a show to perform in. I'll just join a community musical. And then I realized, whoa, I am not available every night.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so this was a really good balance for me to be able to be on a stage and to sing and perform a little bit, but one night a week for 2 hours, and then on my own for fun. When I practice by myself, but it's a commitment for sure, and it has been a staple in my life for 7 years. But thankfully, I can mesh it into my life because it's one night a week. And then it's really fun. Actually, as right before I got on this call, I was getting messages from people in my choir because we have this very active Slack groups, 10 to 20 groups where it's like there's a book club through the choir, there's a recipe channel, there's a let's go dancing group, there's a just super random, just mental health support. I need this sort of thing. Like it's a very active organization where people have found it as an outlet of more than just a place to sing. It's people care about each other. So this is sort of bled out into our lives in other ways. We have monthly potlucks, which is super fun. That we have a meal together every once a month before rehearsal, and and then there's like karaoke meetups, and it's just become
Wow.
it can be like your whole life if you want it to be, if you have the time. And it's just a welcoming, super welcoming crew of people.
That's so
Ca-
cool.
I know, and I think it's interesting, Jesse, because you very kindly shared the website with us, and we'll share it with the listeners. And when we were talking about this originally, in my mind, when you said choir, I kind of cast this image of people on stage in robes, right, doing certain things. I mean, I thought more like I would think of I don't know what the right word is right now, but what I
You went
saw on your
Sister Act.
website. A
You
little
went
bit.
Sister Act
Sister
in that.
Act was pretty
Yeah.
hip, yeah. But and I think that they're probably going there. What I saw on your website was very different than what I expected. And you're speaking of, and I use this word way too much, but I love it. But this community that has been built through all of this. I mean, seeing the people sing outside like it was in someone's backyard or something, and it was so beautiful. I don't know what that was, but you're bringing art to all of these different spaces too, which is really extraordinary. Do you think, and forgive me, I forgot the woman's name who started this. Do you think that she ever fathomed the degree to which this would evolve when this whole thing was starting?
Oh yeah, and she is amazing. Her name is Rachel Reese. She is a just like a superhuman. But I really don't think she thought it was going to turn into this. When I first we were meeting in like the basement of a bike shop, and it was just a tiny little cozy small thing, and it's just exploded. And the fact that there's this massive wait list and then a need for all these pop-up events and more and more and more, yeah, I'm pretty sure on a regular basis she's still in shock. But she is a musician. She's a traveling artist that was a touring artist that was doing that for years and years and years, and realized that I think one of the main things, and I don't want to speak for her, but I've talked to her and heard her talk about this a lot, that she wanted to use she was kind of wondering, all right, I'm doing all these shows, I'm playing all these songs. How can we turn song into good? And so and also this whole desire and need for community. She was in New York City for a really long time, and she moved to Minnesota and was just really craving community after that kind of chapter of her life ended. And so she decided that one beautiful way to make tangible good with song is to make this choir where we raise money for people that need it. And
That's really cool.
yeah.
Now, if I can ask, have you all figured out or already determined who the group is that you're going to donate the tickets to for those folks who could get to your concert?
Yeah, this season we're donating to Rock the Res, which is an organization for youth girls. It's two-spirit, LGBTQ, trans, non-binary, all different identities who are going to be participating in a summer camp to learn about music.
Oh, cool.
And this is a group that has primarily been, I think, in the Dakotas, and now they're going to use the money to start one in Minnesota. So this camp is going to, the money we raise for this show is going to actually open up the camp for these people in Minnesota. So it's going to be instantly put to use, and it's pretty exciting.
That's so cool. Well, folks, if you're in the Minneapolis area or can get to it, we'll put it on the show notes and everything in terms of being able to buy tickets and stuff. That sounds like a great cause. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I think people need to buy their tickets quickly. It sounds like it sells out.
Yeah, I was going to say.
How much do you typically bring in from one of the big shows, Jesse? Do you know?
Well, I do know that so far we've raised over $57,000. Fire's been in existence, and again, this is the 8th season, so 8 years. Yes, and it just gets bigger and bigger each year. The money and the tickets and the silent auction, and then just people that hear about us and want to donate to the organization. It really adds up. So we're nearing 60 grand, and we'll probably get 10 to 15,000 this season too. So it's really neat to see how much it's exploded.
Jessy, Trav, if I may, the Tim and Trav podcast is actually looking for a donor. Just throwing that out there for 2026.
Can you add that to the list?
If you could please add us. That's so cool. Okay, I'm moving back to a serious topic. Jessy, I have a feeling that if Trav and I came out there and there were 2 spots available for this choir and we both auditioned, your director would probably say, "I'm sorry, guys, you just aren't going to make the cut." So, and now,
That's
jokes
fair.
aside, I have to assume that some people probably come out for this who maybe don't. They're just not. That's not a natural talent of theirs. What does the choir do in that situation?
No, that's the thing about it is that there is literally, I mean, because you are, there's not an audition and anyone can put their name in the lottery, you can be in it. There is a given to there's a priority given to people that are like of marginalized backgrounds and communities. So, which I think is really cool because so that we have more of a diverse population for sure. But no, even if you don't really know how to sing, it's amazing how we can all blend together with 75 voices. It all works out.
I hear you. I mean, I watched some of those videos and I was like, these people are legit.
Oh yeah. No, you'd think they were all auditioned and vetted and everything with tons of experience for sure.
Yeah, and there
Wow.
are people that are professional singers in the choir that they do this for fun on the side, and then there's people who kind of like me who are like, I did choir in high school and I think it's so fun, and like a choir nerd, but I'm not like professionally trained, but I love to sing. So and then there's probably people who have never been in a choir but want a community, and I know there are people like that in the choir. So yeah, it's a big range.
I'm with Tim though. I've seen enough American Idol where I know that that could be a disaster. So the fact that you it's really impressive.
It's kind of impressive how it all turns out. One of the things that was really interesting was COVID, because as you probably remember, like choirs were super dangerous during COVID.
Sure.
So we actually did a lot of this sort of thing, this sort of virtual rehearsals, which was tricky, but
Yeah.
we made it through a whole whatever, however long that was, a long time, a year and a half or more. And then we wore masks once we finally all got back together, and we had to take tests, COVID tests, because it is so risky to sit close together with 75 people and breathe and sing.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
That was a whole thing for a really, really long time, felt like forever. But we still powered through, and I'm glad we did, because I think a lot of organizations ended up kind of folding when I was like, well, this is too hard or this is too risky.
Sure.
So
That's a testament to your community too. You know, that you all stuck with it, and you know, you're still 75 strong with even more on the wait list. That's cool. I have a question about the COVID part. There's one video that I clicked on from your website where you're all in a Zoom grid basically. Is that and there's a lot of them, by the way. I've watched several of those different kinds of videos where, you know, there's maybe 10 or 12. There are so many squares that they're so small you can barely see the person. So was that a COVID thing, or was that just kind of a cool idea that you all did?
no, that was definitely that was COVID. That was the only way we could sing together. And so we all rehearsed this song, When the Wall Comes Down.
Mm-hmm.
And then our director, our part, and she mixed that all together, which is incredible. But that was how, because one year our show got canceled, and so that was what we did.
Well, it
Was we
sounds
just
amazing and it looks amazing, but you know, I've watched probably a dozen of those different things, and you guys at least tripled the number of singers in it. Like not
it,
to mention the other musicians, but yeah.
yeah. And then that thing that you're talking about, Tim, was on the website as well. What we were singing in a music video. We were making a music video for Humbird, which is one of the artists we performed with. So we met in her backyard and did this beautiful sing backup for one of her songs called "Song for the Seeds." And that was cool. There's been a lot of really neat things, more than just standing on a stage singing in a typical or fashion. One of the riskiest things we've ever done as a choir, which you think about, what's risky as a choir when you're singing, pretty safe. But so in Minnesota, we are super into embracing winter, and we're just like, yeah, it's cold, but we're still gonna power through and have a good time. And so there's a winter festivals And there was a festival last winter. Well, we did this really neat thing where it's called the art shanties, where artists create sculptures and exhibits, and they put them outside on a big frozen lake, and people come and they visit. They just it's like an open air art gallery, but on the ice. And we were invited. We were invited to be entertainment and a lot of really cool things. As we've grown over the years, we've kind of made a little bit of a name for ourselves. But this one was on the ice of the art shanties. And Minnesota winters are usually really consistently very cold. But last year was kind of creepy and warm, too warm. But they assured us that it was fine to be out on the ice. And they kept testing the depth of the ice and like and they're like, we're still good. And we're like, you sure? Because it's like not even cold. Great, it's fine. Come on out. So they had a stage for us out there and everything, and it wasn't all 75, but I would say it was at least 3/4 of us, 60 or more maybe. That we got together and we started doing our set, and when that many people are in one like isolated area and the ice is a little bit sketchy, there's going to be these micro cracks that happen, and the water starts bubbling up on the ice as we're singing, and we're just like looking around. And by the end, so we had to move places during our set because it was getting to be like, oh, we're probably all gonna fall in. Like this is a terrible way to die. Dumb ways to die, you know. The water was up to my like shins by the time we were done, and it was like, okay, now everybody just go, and like nobody fell in cracked, but it was because there were little holes in the ice and there was pressure altogether. Water was bubbling up, and it was a little sketchy, but really exciting. And the audience kept moving with us because we had to move, like mid-song had to shift. Oh, we're gonna just kind of go over here, and they would follow us, and everyone's looking at each other like, is this okay? Is everyone still good? So that was fun.
Jessy, that went from the most Minnesota story I've ever heard, where it's like, yeah, we go out and we sing on the ice and it's super deep and it's cold and we embrace it, to the most terrifying performance story I've ever heard. I'm so glad that didn't end up as like a viral video. Oh man.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's wild. That's so interesting. And I wanted to ask you, do you have a most sort of celebrated event or experience with this choir that really just stands out to you? I mean, that stands out by all means, but how about on the opposite end, not the risky, I almost died end, like something where it was just so beautiful or touching, you know, that you were a part of?
Oh, well, our choir director did just get married this summer, and we got to sing at her wedding, which was really, really fun. We also surprised her with a couple of songs she didn't know that we had prepared for her. And then we recently sang at there's a museum in Minneapolis called the Minnesota Institute of Art. Minneapolis Institute of Art, MIA. Let's call it MIA or MIA. We sang there just a couple weeks ago. There was an exhibit opening for Alicia Keys' own personal art collection called Giants, and it made its way to our museum. And there was a sort of a fun opening weekend where we got to just do a couple of shows, a couple sets. And that was a blast. And we don't have any Alicia Keys in our repertoire, but we did bust out some impromptu Girl on Fire. And it was really fun because we're singing in a museum, and it's like we're basically in this palace. And so this crazy echoing around us, and just the sound was pretty remarkable. So those couple things stand out. And of course, almost dying on the ice I'll never do that.
I'm jealous you got to see Giants too in the process. I've heard really good things. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Yeah.
Tim has his own personal art collection too.
Yeah.
It looks a lot like that.
Yeah. I actually drew everything you see behind Trav. I drew for him and sent it to him. Really
Folks
nice
who
stuff,
aren't
yeah.
watching at home, it's my daughter's artwork from when she was 4.
Cute.
He's very sweet. Trav is very sweet to me. Wow, Jesse, I'm so intrigued and impressed by this. I mean, it's truly like the first group of this nature that I've ever heard of. I've never heard of anybody doing something like this. I think I love what you were sharing about all the subgroups that have sort of grown out of this, and the minor communities that are growing. It's just so cool. I mean, just on a personal level, right? Like if you didn't have this, I mean, it really feeds you clearly, right? Like you really, you need this. Can you speak a little bit about just, what this does for your soul?
Yeah, it's hard to even describe because I think it impacts me more than you even realize. But I think the relationships I've made with people in the choir over the years, I mean, we are just close friends now, and the one thing that is really special to me about this is that when I had my youngest son, I was really stressed out about the idea of having to leave all three little people at home from that witching hour of 7 to 9, which my husband, when I was like, "See ya, I'm going to choir," that felt hard, and I was like, "Can I even do this anymore?" And that was a moment of being like, I should probably step away. But I'm so glad I didn't, because I just decided I'm bringing him with me. And even though it was probably super inconvenient for bedtime and sleep in general, it was very fun because he became their choir baby and kind of like the mascot. And everyone embraced him too, just like they embraced me. And he got passed around to person. And whenever he was fussing, they would rock him, and he'd go in someone else's arms. And I feel like there is a good chance that choir has shaped him as well, because he is this very funny, outgoing, zero hesitation in a group setting. He's very musical. He can carry a tune. And I'm like, first of all, when he was in my womb, was he bathed in song? And he was like, that's in him. Because there's something about those vibrations each week of like, he was raised on that, or before he was even in the world. And then the fact that he came to choir for like a whole year or more of his life, until he was up and moving and running, and then I was like, all right, never mind. But he's, I think, a part of that of who he is because of choir too. So I mean, I think it's impacted me in little and huge ways, and I think that's a huge way. But the fact that it's just sort of a sanctuary space. I mean, I do surgery on Mondays when choir meets, and I run home. I usually have like 11-hour days when I'm doing my surgeries. I run home and I basically say hi to everybody, and then I zip out the door. I'm often wearing my scrubs at choir because it's just too chaotic, and those days are hard. And then I get there and it's like, whoosh, instantly all the stress from whatever happened that day is gone, and it's just inner peace and joy. Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing.
It's so cool, Jesse. And as you're sharing that story, I love that story of what you did with your son, because I think that, like, I putting myself in your shoes as a parent, right, of a newborn, and I could see myself, like, I think me personally, and maybe others, we create obstacles sooner than we identify solutions. And in that case, like, you could have created this obstacle. I got to stay home now. I got to do this. But there was so much help and support that was there waiting for you that you couldn't really know unless you dove in. And I have so much respect for you for taking that leap. Like, that's amazing. I don't think I would have done that.
Thank you. Yeah, I felt crazy. I kind of feel crazy still that I did that, and felt kind of nuts at the time. But when I didn't bring him, and the rare times when he was already sleeping or something, people were not happy with me that I didn't have the baby.
Yeah.
Oh, it was you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Trav feels that all the time when he shows up with his family. They're always like, "Oh, you're here."
Yeah, you brought.
Or I guess it's
the other way
really
around. When I'm the tag
That's
along,
right.
it's like,
Sorry.
Travis is here. We like the other three.
You're not alone, Trav. We're in the same boat. Wow, Jesse, this is cool. I wish that you guys were closer to us. I'd love to come see a show.
Can I ask one thing?
It's
Yeah, one thing. Like, if somebody, let's speaking of not being in the area, if somebody was like, "Oh man, I so identify with her," I was the show choir kid. You know, I did it all through high school. I really enjoyed it. Maybe even sing a little bit, just more than in the shower, if you will. And like they're in a different community. Is there like a should they? Is there like a outside of starting one on their own? Is there like a tip or anything that you would give them to like seek out the I it sounds like, to be honest with you, Jesse, it sounds like what you have is a bit one of a kind, but if they were to try and find something similar, do you have any advice to folks like that?
that is such a good question because I do feel like I was just so fortunate to stumble upon this. Um, I mean, I think the main thing is just looking up online, but even so, it's like you can. There's such a variety out there. It's like, is this going to be good? Is this going to be what I want it to be? I think the fact that we do the music that we do, and it's not for everybody. I mean, some people really want the like sister act experience and the robes and all that, and that's great and beautiful in its own way. Um, but I do think that starting your own might be the only option, which is nuts. There is a group called Gaia Collective that I don't know if you've ever seen those videos of the one day, it's like called One Day Choir. And they are in New York City. So that's a barrier for most people that don't live there, of course, but they also travel around and are doing these in other places now too. And we've actually used two of their songs. Rachel, our director, does all of her arrangements, but we were able to purchase two of their songs which were just they're so cool. So I watch their videos online, and it's sort of a whole group of strangers getting together, learning a song in one day, and they sing. Have you seen it, Tim? Have you seen? Do you know what I'm talking?
No.
It's GAIA Collective. Um, so I think mostly just getting creative, but I don't, again, I think this is a diamond in the rough. But there might be more out there, and maybe this will inspire somebody to start one, or just, I mean, I think virtually there's some opportunities for that. But yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, how lucky for you that you found that in such a cool community. That's really great.
That is cool. Jesse, we have one question, an impact question that we ask all of our guests. But before we ask you that, is there anything else that you wanted to touch base on or share? I know you've been preparing for this interview for months.
But yeah, months. Yep.
or 7 hours
Yeah.
on a plane ride. Yeah.
Right. I think we covered it. I mean, it's just.
I mean, we covered a lot. I'm inspired, and I can't sing for a dip. So there you go.
Jesse, I was so worried you were going to ask the three of us to do a little, to kind of walk us through a little song, because that would have been a disaster.
Yeah. This music, I'll drop it to you. And
yeah. All right, Jesse. All right, so let me move on before we push that song thing any further here. But Jesse, so all of our guests we ask, name or share, please, one person or experience that has had a profound impact on your life, and it could be related to the choir or not.
Yeah. So I think I just have to go with Miss Kerstetter, Marie Kerstetter, Miss K. She was my high school choir teacher, and she was the one who taught me how to read music and taught me that I could be on a stage and taught me the joy of performing and brought together. It was just her classroom was always a place of peace and like a little sanctuary also. And she worked so hard. It was so hard being a high school choir teacher. She had multiple types of choirs, and then she put on this massive musical every year that was always just so fun. And I just remember her always being a little stressed out, but just pure love. She gave the best hugs, just these big bear hugs, and she was so proud of all of us and just so encouraging. And I think she made me feel like, hey, you can do this. You should do this.
Yeah.
You're good at this. Keep doing this. And like the fact that here I am in my 40s still doing this it's pretty cool. So thank you, Miss K.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a testament to her for sure.
Yeah.
That's really
Shout out to Miss K. That's great.
Miss K.
Yeah.
You know, I have yet to meet a choir director at the high school level who isn't a little bit harried all the time for all the reasons you've said. But you know, obviously the Miss K's of the world do the incredible thing of making a welcome space, especially at a tumultuous time for a lot of people as a high schooler. So that's really, I love that you pointed that out. We've mentioned this before, but we have a lot of times it comes back to educators. A lot of times the impact question answer is an educator. And so for those of you out there who need to hear it again or you know, aren't willing to press pause and skip past this, you're seen as an educator and you're appreciated. So thank you. The Miss K's of the world, there's nothing like a great influence like that.
So true,
Great
Trav.
answer.
So true. Wow, Jessy. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you guys. This is really fun.
This has been fun. Jessy, just one more plug, if you don't mind, the name of the choir, the website. We'll put it in the show notes, but so people can check it out.
Yeah, so Kith Kin Chorus in Minneapolis. And if you are in the area or if you'd like to travel to see us, because pretty special. Our show is Saturday, May 3rd at the Cedar Cultural Center. There's a 4 o'clock and an 8 o'clock, and you can get your tickets online, or you can just donate to our organization that we're supporting, Rock the Res, through the website too.
Great. Everybody check it out. Jessy, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. Very inspiring.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Jessy.
Well, Tim, I think we've mentioned it a few times that neither one of us can really sing all that well, but that was very inspiring. And I truly enjoyed that. That was really cool. A lot of unexpected turns. I didn't, not knowing that group at all. That was really cool.
Yeah, I really encourage people to check out their website and watch some of those videos. They're really impressive.
They're so
these people are so talented, and it's just so amazing what she's doing. I think my favorite part of that conversation was when she was talking about all those subgroups that have sort of, created themselves from this group of 75. That is just, I don't know, man. It's like people just finding new and unique ways to come together.
Yeah, it speaks to the community of it, doesn't it? Like, they obviously enjoy their company and need that community so much that they make the sub-communities within it. That says a lot.
Yeah, that was great. Thank you so much, Jessy. That was so awesome.
All right, man. There you go. Episode 209, or 210, excuse me. My goodness. We're already in 210. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, and let's kind of hang a question mark as to what 211 might look like, because we're in the process of maybe solidifying one more, but we may be wrapping up season 2.
Yeah, there will be one more episode after this, regardless whether it's another guest or a wrap up. So please continue to stay tuned. We do appreciate all of you listening. We're watching our analytics and our numbers slowly climb, which is not why we're here, but it is kind of cool. Part of the mission, in my opinion, is to really get these guests seen more and heard more. So, if you happen to like this, please like, subscribe, leave us positive comments. It really actually does help. So thank you very much for everybody who's here.
Yeah, and if you would like to order one of Trav's famous potatoes, please do. What's the Venmo that they could send their $4.25?
I'll put my Venmo in the show links. That's a great idea.
Trav will send you a smoked potato.
Smoked baked potato, yeah.
I'm going to be ordering mine tonight.
7 to 10 days, it'll be yours. All right, thanks, Tim, man.
All right, stay well, Trav. Thanks.
Tim and Travis on the mic, talking life and what's it like. Middle age, it's quite the ride, finding joy and chasing pride. Career dreams and daily grind, funny moments that we find. Letting go of yesterday, making paths along the way. Middle age. Middle-age mayhem, breaking free, finding out who we can be, laughing, learning all the time. Tim and Travis in their prime. Every step a brand new plan, older, wiser, still we stand, navigating through the years, sharing stories, laughs and cheers. growth and learning all the time. Tim and Travis in their prime, every step a brand new plan. Older, wiser, still we stand, navigating through the years, sharing stories, laughs and cheers. Middle age and join the fun, middle age has just begun. Tim and Travis lead the way, every episode will slay.
I think it'd be better if you just took the lead on pretty much everything.
Is my pocket talking? That's weird.
If you could figure that out, that'd be amazing.
I wrote it down.
I'm ready. I've never done this before.
You nailed it.
Don't put that in the outtakes. Trav actually has been thrown out of that country 3 times.